Hello, welcome to CLSP Politics. Sean Briscoe speaking. So we finally got some good end of the year polling. Uh, so what they do is they have polling that at the beginning of the year, basically when Trump got into office, and now we're like basically effectively because everyone's about to go off to Thanksgiving and check out for Christmas. We won't really hear from anybody until mid-January. So this is kind of the spectrum of what the shifts may have been like over the last year, how well Trump's done, and I think we all can imagine how terrible this show is going to be for the Republican Party. It's been brutal. But this poll was done by Strength in Numbers, and they did a pretty good job. Very large sample size. They encapsulated all of the polling they did throughout the country, including Virginia, New Jersey, and a few other places. So I'd say it's pretty comprehensive and definitely worth a look. So why don't we do that? Okay. So, oh man. So, first, let's look at the gender shift, right? So, in 2024, Trump was +6 with men and then, minus 15 with women. Today, he is, well, 3+3 with men and minus 30 with women. So, there you go. There's that. So, let's look at race really quick. Okay. So, with white voters, he was +6, now he's +3. With Hispanic voters, he was -15, now he's -30. With African Americans, actually pretty small shift amongst all races, because I'm pretty sure they weren't really behind Trump from the get-go. At -76 was their start, and now they're at -86. So yeah, solid shift. Then Asians, which was a very interesting shift. One of the largest, actually, went from -18 to -60. And that is a demographic that generally votes on economic issues. So it's an interesting. And then you have other. Other is like everyone that's not white, Hispanic, Black, or Asian, which is actually a pretty solid chunk of universe of people. And they make up so they were at +11, now they're at -30. So a diametrically enormous shift with that group. And let's look at the age. This is kind of the generation gaps that Trump's going to deal with. 18 to 29, they didn't like him to begin with, and they definitely don't like him now. -20 to -41. 30 to 44, the millennials, the largest voting group in the country, -12 to -24, so that negative doubled. 45 to 64, that's pretty much the Gen X. He was +3, so we were kind of 50-50 on him, and now it's -10. He's lost that group completely. And then the boomers still hanging on after all these years. He even lost them. He's now underwater with boomers. They were his only lifeline, electorally speaking. Real quick, if you haven't already, you can like and subscribe. I know you guys dig my polling videos, so this one came down the pipe, and I was like, I gotta get these out to everybody. All of these videos take work, so if you'd like to donate, you can go to my YouTube at CLSP Politics, or where there's a PayPal account, or you can go to my Substack and become a monthly member at $5 a month. About the same cost as a cup of coffee. So income. This was kind of interesting. Under 50%, he was already underwater at -9. Now he's -26. The 50 to 100, which is a very large, the other really third of the electorate, he was just barely above water. They were going to give him a chance. Well, now he's -16, so that's game over. And what really shocked me was the over 100,000. They're not a large group population wise, but man, they dropped by 10 points as well. So that's pretty damning. Largest shifts of all the genders, races, ages, and incomes. If you are a female, Asian, under 29, making under $50,000, you hate Trump a lot. Like, there's no way you like Trump. If you do, you are what we call an outlier. And yeah, this specific group absolutely is not voting for a Republican in 2026. Definitely a group to target if you're a candidate out there running for office. So these are all the different, this is where the change has been. As you can see, it's dropping. The highest group, which also is just barely above water, is the 65 or older. And then, every other group is below water. That zero right there, that means you're below water. That means you're negative, that group. So these are yeah. So this is the stuff that Republicans in Congress are looking at. This is the reason they tried to change the maps in Texas and Indiana. This is why. So when we look at from the beginning, the first week of Trump's policies, this is a 50 plus, this is a 50 plus one poll. This is a different poll. They, look at the first week, he was at 10, plus 10 with 18 to 29. He's now negative 31 last week, right? Between 30 to 44, again, you see an enormous shift from plus 12 to negative 19. And 45 to 64, those are the Gen X. You keep in mind, go back real quick, that 30 to 44 is the largest voting population demographic in the country, right? So that's a 30-point shift with the largest demographic voting group in the country. If these guys show up in 2026, there probably isn't going to be a Republican Party. The only reason there would be is gerrymandering. That's it. There's no other reason. You can't survive a 30-point shift like this as a party. That's not really a thing. But let me get back to the 45 to 64s. He was above water. Now he's underwater by -5. And this was an interesting one because this is a very large shift for that 65 and older group, which is the bread and butter of the Republican Party. Like, they lose this group, they're cooked. And this, I think, has, these others, I think, are more economic based. But I'll tell you right now, that shift right there should scare the crap out of every Republican. That's the death nail. -9. No. If you don't think that voter group's not going to be looking to blame somebody in 2026, it's going to be Trump's on the ballot, but not on the ballot. Yeah, it's going to be all over the place on that one. And then if you look, in their poll, the support from African Americans, you got to understand, it's not that Trump won the African Americans last election. It's just he didn't lose the African American vote by the margin that he normally would lose by in the last election. And that had a lot to do with Biden and a bunch of other stuff. Well, whatever faith that community had in Trump is now completely eradicated. Same with the Hispanic group. That was another one where it's not that he won them, it's that he didn't lose them by a huge margin like they normally do. Well, welcome back, because it's all sorts of bad for them now. GOP, looking at those two numbers, are going to have no pad. They've got to win by the white margin, which is currently 50-50. And what's interesting about this kind of data is that when you look at like a state like Texas, which is a minority majority state, that is to say there are more people that are not white than are white. So it's Asians, blacks, Hispanics, everybody. There's more of them than there are of white. So there is a minority majority state, of which, so they're over 50%. Currently with the maps, I think it's like 37% representation. So it's half what it should be. With those new BS maps, the ones that just got thrown out, I think it was going to be like around 20%. So 1/3 the actual electoral representation that they deserve. So not that the old maps are great, they're terrible. The gerrymandering's preposterous, but compared to those maps that got thrown out like a few days ago, so much better. Oh my God. But then when you see the white shift in vote, that's where it's going to open up like Collin County, Denton County, Tarrant County, the I-35 corridor, Waco to Travis, Williamson County, Bell County. There's a lot of these counties out there that the Republicans have been using to maintain control of various different congressional seats in Texas. And a lot of that's going away. And that's why they wanted to change those maps. It's polling like this that makes them want to change their maps. So anyway, just thought I'd share this really interesting polling data that came out today. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. You can check me out on YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Substack. If you're thinking about running for office, you can check me out at clsbpolitics.com. You can email me at sean@clsbpolitics.com. All right, everybody. Hope you guys have a really great holiday, Thanksgiving week coming up. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.